Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say hello and welcome to a fresh, brand new edition of the program, Ashford Garley Live on Brace Radio Africa. It feels great to be back on as always. Father God, want to give you praise. Want to magnify your name. Blessed be your holy name forever. Lord Jesus, we are grateful to you. In the name of Jesus, we have given thanks. Some heard the name. Some heard people talk about him. You've gotten the opportunity tonight as we come to you from Lansdowne, PA, with another explosive, in the words of Dr. James T. Fisk, on British Radio Africa, Ashford Garley Live, the mastermind, the medicine of the microphone, the golden voice of radio. Basignon Blue, c'est qu'on veut aller pelia. Direct c'est tout quoi gay, c'est bon blue, that idea quoi, me or chile. You wouldn't know Muzu, and what you mad double to dry, and you adi wapo. He doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. Africa's media doopy dude extraordinaire. As for the giant, the now you know me Garley. Welcome to the show. And it's time to give it up to Phil Joe. Phil, how you doing? Meg Carter, my own big sister from New Jersey, is in the building. James Wawat is also here tonight, and I'm telling you, as aka James Akwe, watching from Waterloo, Iowa. All right. Well, gentlemen, welcome to the show. Where's Letty Brooks Roberts? Let me begin with Dr. James T. Fisk. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you, Ashford, and I want to say a big welcome to the other panelists, as well as people in the listening and viewing land. And you are invited to yet another explosive edition of Ashford Garley Live on British Radio. Thank you.
One of my favorite people, the friend and brother, Idatus added. Welcome to the show.
Oh, greetings, everybody. Happy June 19th or June 10th, coming tomorrow. Monday, rather. It's such a pleasure being here with these highly esteemed intellectual panelists and a wonderful talk show host, Ashford the Giant Garley. Greetings to all of you wonderful Liberians. God bless.
What are you wearing tonight, Idatus?
Well, I'm wearing my African shirt. You know, we may live in America, but we are still Afrocentric. Our culture follows us and lives within us, in spite of the influence of the culture upon our lives.
My man. Well, Coach Peter Quarry, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. And again, it's always a pleasure to be in the midst of people from our country and talking about the livelihoods of our people and the future of our country. I'm always very excited to be part of this conversation. Thanks for including me. Hello to all the panelists and people watching.
Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts.
Yes, Mr. Garley, how are you?
Better than good. Uh-oh. Okay, as we wait for her to get back, let us take a look at the menu. Okay, no alcohol, no salt, just a little bit of pepper tonight, and no red meat, no fries. Now, when I go to, as we read out the menu, I want to again bring Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts on to say hi to the rest of the folks. Mrs. Roberts, are you there now?
Yes, I'm here with my voice, but I can't see myself. I don't know. I had someone look at my device and it said to check your end, so I don't know what's going on. But I want to say good evening to all of you. Thank you for being here. A great Friday evening. It's Friday, and I say I'm happy to be here because, like I said, it's the weekend. We look forward to a great conversation. There's so much in the news. But thank you all to my final fellow panelists. I say good evening.
Okay. Again, the menu looks like this. No salt, just a little bit of pepper to make it a little spicy, and no alcohol. You have to be 21 years or older to drink alcohol tonight on the show. Get the popcorn rolling, okay, and invite a few friends. At this time, we want to bring in Pastor Idatus added to tell us what is on the menu tonight.
Well, certainly the first thing on the menu is that the tricyclists and motorcyclists of the Republic of Liberia, called the Federation of Motorcycle or Tricycle Individuals, comprising of some 230,000 membership, endorsed Joseph Iman Boyka on Thursday, June 15. Also, what is trending is the saga that happened on closing argument, wherein a sedition denigrated a female to the dislikes of many, and the backlash from the growing public against such denigration of a woman. Also, what is trending is the fact that we are 116 days away from elections. Decisions will soon be made, and Liberians must stand up to make that decision as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Again, now since you talked about this on the intro, why don't you begin the conversation with the motorcyclist that who endorsed your guy, the guy who you believe has a vision for the country. Tell us more about this.
Well, John A.F. Kenyon is the president of the Federation of Motorcyclists. They met with the Honorable Joseph Iman Boyka at his residence and certainly pledged to support concerning changing the trajectory of this country. Clearly, they've come to realize that, Liberia is at a dire straits, and we need a leader that is visionary and is able to change the trajectory of this country. They've pledged to support. In responding to them, the Honorable Boyka informed them that they were on the right side of history and that their decision will have no remorse, as together we'll change Liberia. That decision will be made by them and them alone for the greater good of the country.
Now, Coach P, the thing here is there's another need for the motorcyclists who call them the pimping boys. Now they have the ears of the masses. We depend on these people on a daily basis to move from one end to another. And they carry a huge weight when it comes to the body politics of our country. What do you make of that endorsement?
Well, there's I'm happy for Joseph Boyka. I don't think it means much. A few months ago, I was back in Liberia on those motorcycles. Family members, there are a few family members who currently ride those motorcycles. When I go to Liberia, I'm not in hotels. I'm with my family. And I can tell you this. I don't know how much that means to them for some so-called leader to endorse Joseph Boyka. Joseph Boyka certainly is not visionary. I've gone over this before. I will say it again. When someone has a vision, the vision is informed by information. And if a person cared about that vision, they would do nothing but talk about that ad nauseum over and over again. Joseph Boyka has never laid out a plan for helping out the downtrodden in Liberia. He's never been passionate about it. He's never advocated for them. So a few people endorsing Mr. Boyka means nothing. I know the friends that I have, the family members that I know, that ride motors, the pam-pams, they don't follow the lead of that person. Liberian people, the keke boys, the motorcycle boys, the girls selling in traffic, they know how they feel. They know the pinch of the economy, how that affects their day-to-day lives. They don't need anyone telling them this is a person to elect you, especially since Joseph Boyka and the UP party were there for 12 years, 12 recent years. The people remember how the lives were. They know that the economy was 80% expatriate, artificially lifting the economy. So to get endorsements from those people for some leader because of whatever reason is as if how George Weah just got endorsement by his party members and they
Thank
applauding
you.
him. So to me, it's not. It means it doesn't mean much.
Thank you. And Dr. Fish for Coach P or Coach Q to come in and say the endorsement of the Pimpin Boys for Ambassador Borka doesn't mean anything. And we all know the weight that the motorcyclists and the Pimpin Boys carry in Liberia. One might say he's out of touch. What says you, Dr. Fish?
Well, we need to understand the history between behind the action that led to the endorsement. Was it as a result of the end of a convention of all the Pempen people, and then maybe they decided to take a vote, in the national convention, and then Joseph Nyimawaka carried a majority of those individuals, the basis upon which they then decided that, okay, fine, since the majority carried the rule, let's go ahead and endorse Joseph Waka. Now, if that didn't happen, then it's just window dressing, okay? And we have to ask ourselves whether people are pursuing Joseph Waka because of the policies he has offered and the expectations they have of him, or is it because of the despondence at the high expectation they had of Weah that he hasn't been able to meet? Depending on where the people stand, that will determine how they will vote, quite frankly. But the broader picture is that, and I keep saying this, we need opposition leaders rather than opposition job seekers. And what do I mean by that? Opposition leaders will understand that they have a common enemy. The common enemy is George Weah, who is not working in the interest of the Liberian people and need to be kicked out of office. Political job seekers will not understand this principle and will be clawing at each other. Meanwhile, the prize is still in the possession of someone that they are trying to, that they should be trying to remove from power. So that's the irony in all of these things. So I would take the endorsement with a grain of salt unless we can understand the process by which the endorsement was delivered to Mr. Boakai.
Thank you, and Mrs. Roberts, thanks for assuming your responsibility in terms of the time check. Well, 230,000 motorcyclists. Those are not small numbers. If you have each of those people taking 2 or 3 passengers, and as to do that, and talk about the vision of JMB, and then talk about the famous acronym arrest, and talk about love Liberia, build Liberia, and think Liberia. That would carry a huge weight. But others who are not on the side of JMB don't see it like that. Mrs. Roberts?
Ashford, not to interrupt you, but somebody keep making noise in the
I think
background.
it's
like
coming
they're
from
moving
Mrs.
things.
Roberts. I mean, there's a little click there from her end.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from her end. Yeah, you may speak now, Mrs. Roberts. You have to make some adjustment with your device.
I'm muted though, so how could you hear what's happening?
Because you just unmuted yourself. That's what I'm saying. Because you're muted first. But go ahead now and speak.
Okay, yeah, I hear the rattling. So if it's from my end, I don't know. I'm gonna have to try and look to see. I just.
You look nice, by the way, tonight. As always, anyway.
Thank you.
Exceptionally, especially seeing her on video.
All right. Thank you so much. But yeah, that's. I mean, we can't downplay that amount, that number of persons, and not because we're opposition to him, That's big. I mean, the Pimpin' Boys, they are the new transit authority. They are the ones that are getting people to where they need to be. And if they, can find that that's who they want to support, so be it. Will it relate to win? That remains to be seen. But again, everyone has um their opinion. When you said, is there a committee? I heard someone ask that endorsed, because I think when I watched Mr. Cummins in the eastern part of Liberia, the motorcyclists endorsed him too. So apparently they're not together if they're doing stuff differently than everyone else. But I think that's big. Thank you.
Thank you. Joel Dennis, please unmute the device and tell us about tell us what you think about the endorsement by the Keket and Pimpin' Boys for Ambassador Boycott.
I think that's a very significant endorsement. I mean, these children, these drivers, they have a nice size population like Liberia. And I think when you think about who they endorsed, in 2017, that popular opinion their popular opinion did spread across a large swath of Liberia. I think what I see though is a huge rejection to the CDC political party. I think that to me is more significant than they're endorsing anyone. These are people who were writing, singing, praising George Weah. Now that he's lost them, I don't think even CDC, if CDC comes in second place in this election, they have cheated. I don't even think they can come in second place anymore. They've lost the population in Liberia. Their only hope right now is the Supreme Court of Liberia. It probably cause chaos on election day. Maybe they might even block the internet, cause chaos in that country because they don't want to leave government. But I don't see CDC having any kind of major win in Liberia during this next election. Maybe we are going to see ANC and UP going into the second round if CDC does not cheat.
Okay, thank you. And Mrs. Ravage, I want you to please be mindful of the time. As we go one more round, 1 minute each, before we segue into our next segment. I will begin with Pastor Adit. Pastor Adit, the endorsement for Ambassador Boycott by the Pimpin' Boys. ANC says it means nothing. It means nothing, and it won't transcend into any votes. And it's just another ordinary endorsement. So there's no need to talk about it. There's no need to brag about it. And before you come in, I want to recognize Dr. Austin Carpet out of East Orange, New Jersey. Dr. Carpet, that'll show you're having a great time tonight, as always. That's excited.
Yes, thank you. So, Coach Q may not understand to make such a comparison between the endorsement that George Weah received from the senators versus the endorsement of the masses is a big difference, because the masses recognize that those senators have continued to exploit their future through rampant corruption, poor health care, poor quality education. And so they finally recognized that, we once upon a time believed that President George Weah would have been a representation of their dreams and aspirations. Unfortunately, they've clearly seen that it didn't happen, and it's still not happening. So there's a big difference between a political endorsement by senators who have been exploiting and endorsing rampant corruption and poverty, among several other things. They have come now to say we are taking our destiny in our hands. We have come to see the truth. This particular government is not in our interest, and therefore we will support the Honorable Joseph Imam Boyka to aptly represent the dreams and aspirations. And certainly that is why the Honorable Boyka recognized those dangerous conditions upon which they ply the streets of Monrovia and parts of Jessen, recognizing that he kind of respected their efforts to improve the Liberian economy, since we don't have a transportation system. So by that alone, it's certainly a reflection of the masses' disdain for this government and this
Thank
rampant
you.
corruption, extra killings, among several other things.
Thank you. And Dr. Faith, please mute your device. I believe that I want to be the sound is coming from you. Okay, Coach Q.
Yeah.
You can
So
apologize to me later.
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
So
I'm
again,
very sorry.
I am going to echo what Dr. Fitz said. Was this endorsement brought about through a democratic process? The answer is no. Um, do they have a union where they have a sole leader that they take directives from? The answer is no. So when you have a person who, for whatever reason, I'm not going to sit here and speculate, but for whatever reason said, we're going to go with Joseph Boycott, we're going to go UP, and he's supposed to hold a position in the motorcycle association. Ask those people when the last time they went to a motorcycle association meeting. Let them tell us the board members. Let us tell how much sway they have on those boys and how much gas they buy them, and when they're having their bikes stolen because someone took them around the corner and they got robbed. If they can reach out to the leader, and get some redress of their grievances. This is all fluff. Someone has a relationship with some guy. It's Liberia. People love titles, right? And they care more about titles than real accomplishment. Here's what we do know. We do know that for 12 years, those people watched Mr. Boycott sit there, never once advocated for pimping boys. As a matter of fact, made it hard for them. When I say Mr. Boycott, I'm talking about the government he worked with. He never advocated. He never talked about any issues that are facing young people. Those are very young people. They leave high school and go right on those bikes. Some of them don't even graduate high school to bring a meager living home for their family. They feel the pain. They don't take no directives from no supreme leader to make it sound like this is some endorsement that matters. It is laughable. I don't even feel like addressing.
Thank you. Well, before I bring in Dr. Fish, I want to circle back to Idatus because uh, you know it's one thing to talk about politics, and it's another thing to be real with the Liberian people. You have 3,600 people watching, and you're telling us that the Motorcycle Association does not exist. They don't have a union. They are a bunch of people who are not organized. Is that what you're trying to say? Idatus, you are the research guy on this platform. Tell us a little bit about this organization.
So when I listen to Coach Q, it's clear that he's completely divorced from Liberia and politics. But for us who live in the West, when presidents here get endorsed, they don't bring the record of the convention and tell you, say, oh, the NRA went to convention and we had a convention just for your endorsement. You have executive people who meet and they take a decision. The pictures are there. It's in the newspaper. It was not two people that went there. Unfortunately, he hasn't read the newspaper, but it's all in the newspapers, Coach Q. So it was not a one man that went stepping there to say we endorsed you because he was bribed. It's rather unfortunate that you would think that way in the first place. So, clearly he's not familiar with Liberian politics. Even in the West, when people endorse presidents, there is not a proof of we went to a convention for this particular endorsement. No. They have their executive meetings and they decide who they want to go to. It's not a convention to have an endorsement. When the senators endorsed George Weah, it was not they didn't have a convention. And Mr. Cummings will also receive his endorsement. And you would not have a record of whether or not those groups went to convention and they presented that this is what we decided at our convention to endorse Mr. Cummings. So that defies logic to me.
Okay. He's the Mexican name director. Can I respond to 10 seconds?
Coach Q, one of the things I have trouble with is people telling people that you have divorced yourself from Liberia. You don't know about Liberian politics. I mean, this has got to stop. What do you make of that?
Well, again, and thanks for giving me this opportunity. I need to address that probably once and for all.
1 minute.
I need the pastor to bring his passport so we can prove this. In the last 5 years, how often has he gone back to Liberia? I've gone back at least 5 times. I want you to show me that. I want you to show me, then we can show text messages and connections to the country that since you make it seem like I've been gone for a long time, you have been gone for a substantial long time. I'm wholly involved in Liberian politics. I was just home 3 months ago. My entire family, not my extended family, my family is there. I pay attention to what's going on. So when you tell me, when I'm talking about these people do not take directives from no supreme leader, and you cannot sit here and tell us when was the convention for the motorcyclists? Who was on their board? Let's call any motorcyclist right now. Let's ask them who's their president. There is nothing here. You are making this is what UP does. They create, and this is why the Liberian people started to hate so-called educated people, because you guys create this facade that's not real.
Time, coach.
Endorsement means nothing.
Dr. Fisk. Unmute your device, please, Dr. Fisk.
Yeah, I muted my device because you thought the noise was coming from my end, and I don't think it was, because the noise has still been going on since I muted my device. But anyway, there was something significant that was said here that we need to take into consideration. That was said by Mr. Dennis, that you have these people who once upon a time gave almost a total endorsement to CDC, now repudiating the CDC. That should be a cause for extreme worry by the CDC. Like I've said, I don't see CDC winning Monserrato. I don't see it. The Darius Dillon election, and then of course now you have the endorsement by these people. Okay, and then it's important to get endorsement, but do we just want an empty endorsement? That's what we should be asking. Even though people say in politics, optics matter, but sometimes it's not the face of it that matters, but the substance of it. So convention comes about because people have to periodically elect leaders. Okay, so it is during those times that people come and make other political decisions and the rest of it. Okay, we don't have any record of these things, and these things are very important. So if this thing was just for show, then it's what it is, was just for show. But if you want to make sure that, the thing is, you need to have tabulators as we approach election. What is the Uniparty doing after this endorsement? What are they doing to harness any possible votes from those areas? These are questions that need to be asked, and answers that Joseph Boakai needs to know. And I doubt whether these things are things that he is aware of and answer he has. But long story short, like I've said, is about understanding whether we have political leaders or political job seekers, because political leaders will all have one goal, and that is to get George Weah out because it's not working in the interest of Liberia. And political job seekers are not interested in whether George Weah wins or lose, if it is just about them. And that's the kind of attitude that I see from all the opposition political parties, and it's not working in the interest of the Liberian people.
It's just like T. Brooks Rabbit.
Yes. Well, what's the question? I'm sorry.
When the second round of the motorcycle is that Idatus talked about the endorsement of Ambassador Boycott, and then Coach Q is saying just an ordinary endorsement, and Coach Q went further to say that just a bunch of people that went to endorse the old man, and they don't have a board. They don't have a union. In other words, they are not well established, so to speak, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I tend to disagree, because even though they are pen boys, but they are organized. How do I know this? When the last time I told you I watched a body in the street, they called the pen drivers or riders. They called their leader, and he came and said, "This person is not one of our riders, or whatever, how you call it, drivers or riders." So I want to say, consider that to be organized, because if you can identify people, you know what community they live in, they are organized. It just, as usual, we take people for granted based on their status. But I want to disagree with Coach Q that they have a stake in the country, and so they make their voices known. Even for Dara Staley, they were there to support him. They even gave him money. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt and treat them, as a regular big organization that would endorse, and it would be big news. So I disagree with him.
Yeah,
I would
Ashford,
take
can
them
I please
seriously.
10 seconds?
Okay,
I
two
don't
seconds.
want people putting words in my mouth. I didn't say the Pimpin' Boys were not organized or they're not important. That is unfortunate that that narrative is being put out. Let me tell you how organized they are. When a Pimpin' Boy, that is, you probably don't know this, so let me teach you something about Liberian Pimpin' Boys. When one of them have a baby, when that baby is going home from the hospital, what they do is they will organize themselves. They will each grab some baby stuff like either a tub, a swing chair, something, and it's one of the most beautiful things you will see in a country like that. And they will ride down the street, probably 50, 50 deep, but one behind each other to show and beeping that's what they call pimping, beeping their horns to show that one of theirs just give birth. So yes, they have some organization. You will know this if you went back to Liberia. Yes,
Thank
they're
you.
very organized. I'm
Thank you.
saying they don't take directives from a leader. Is all I'm saying. Okay.
Let us
Ashford, let
let
me
us not make this
let
show
me
about
respond to Coach Q.
you and Pastor Adina. Go ahead. I'll give you 10 seconds, my brother.
Thank you. So, when I said Coach Q is quite frankly divorced from the politics of Liberia, I was not talking about his physical presence in Liberia. You can be in Liberia, but not real, but don't understand the politics of Liberia. But the question I want to ask Coach Q, I want to ask him whether he knows who the patriotic movement of Nimbayans are. Do you know those people, Coach Q? Have you heard
What
about
was
them?
that? So I will answer your
No, no, no.
question.
Just answer my question, yes
No,
or no. Do
I'm
you
not
know the
answering you yes or
patriotic?
no.
All
I'm
right,
not
then
answering.
that's
I'm
fine.
not answering your
That is
gotcha yes
fine.
or no question. No, I'm gonna give you.
No, no.
I'm gonna give
Okay,
you.
so that is fine.
Okay, what's the
So
Main Street in Grand
may
Boston
I
County?
so
Do
may
you
I
know
please
it?
continue, Coach Q?
Go
Coach Q,
ahead.
may I please continue? Thank you kindly. So, my fellow Liberians, the reason why I asked Coach Q the question and he said he wouldn't answer yes or no is either you know them or you don't know them. But on March 3rd, my fellow panelists and Liberians, the patriotic movement of NIMBA endorsed Mr. Cummings, March 3rd, 2023, in Tapeta. That organization consists of 1,000 people. Was that a fake endorsement, Coach Q?
No, the Pimpin'
Did
God
you
Vito is a
did
fake
you
endorsement.
I was being rhetorical, Coach Q. Was that a fake endorsement? Did you go to did they have a convention that you know about? And they came to Mr. Cummings and said, "Oh, here is our convention papers to demonstrate that we endorsed you." That is an organization of 1,000 people. The patriotic a movement of NIMBA on March 3rd, 2023.
And
They
we'll hold you right
endorsed Mr.
there. Thank you,
Alexander
Pastor
Cummings.
Adina. Thank you.
And thank God for that. Thank you.
Listen, and Joel, Coach Q is telling us about the unity amongst the pimping boys. You know, if one of the guys' wives give birth, they will come together as a team and receive that person. And I want to take it further. So if you were in an accident and having to kill a pimping driver, you better run for your life. Not only the way go after you so hard, but they will also burn your vehicle. And this is the kind of unity we talk about when we talk about the pimping boys or the keke boys. In fact, Mr. Cummings, you know, to be a part of the people he tried to fit in. You see him on one or two occasions riding keke. So this is a very powerful group there. You can't take this group for granted.
Yeah, I think, I
Right.
mean, Coach Q is trying to have it both ways too. Because when you think about organization, doesn't necessarily have to be like, the way the West always calls organization. These boys, every single day they get together, they meet. They're talking to one another every single day. They don't need a board member, but they're very organized. You can't have it both ways. It is a good endorsement. It is a good endorsement. I mean, like I said, I think when you look at the way the popular opinion now is moving away from the CDC organization, it's a good endorsement for Joseph Boyka. I'm not endorsing Joseph Boyka, nor am I endorsing Cummings. I firmly believe in the next that Boyka will win, and when he does win, we will have Pastor Addy here telling us in 5 years when Joseph Boyka have royally screwed Liberia, my man, I'll get him out another 5 years. He's going to be the same, doing the same thing CDC people are doing today, and the same thing Ellen people did when she was in president. So I mean, when she was president. So it is a good endorsement. I mean, the pimpin' boys are not just pimpin' boys, connected to a popular stream of Liberian people. So it's not just the pimpin' boys; it's their wives, their girlfriends, all the people that they connect with on a daily basis and talk to. So it is a good endorsement, and you don't need the president or the board member or whoever to endorse nothing. These are their opinions, and I believe they will support Joseph Boyka.
Okay, well, when we come back, we'll talk about the respect for our sisters, our wives, our mothers. But just before that, Mr. Woods?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry to put you on the spot here. We're having a conversation here where the pimping boys in Liberia just endorsed Ambassador Boyka. Tell us about the significance of the pimping boys. Do they have union? Do they have board members? Are they well organized? Just if in 2 minutes, tell us about the pimping boys, please.
Please tell Fist to mute his thing.
The pimping boys are organized. They have 2 major organizations. They have the Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycles of Liberia, and they have another one called the National Union for Motorcycles and Tricyclists and something like that. So there are 2 major organizations existing currently in Liberia.
Okay, so they have a union.
Yeah, they have a union. They are unionized, and they have a federation. This coming week, I think they should be having some major meetings, some sort of reconciliatory meetings. I think the 2 unions trying to see how they can unite and something like that.
Okay, thank you, Phil. We'll be in touch.
You're welcome.
Okay, don't go away, folks. This is Bridge Radio Africa. You're watching the ASHFORD GARLEY Live.
Di Lorenzo, G Grace, M's vocal, Liberia number 1 vocal, Liberia number 1, right? Okay.
The phrase, a new sheriff is in town, does not only belong to law enforcement. How about the introduction of Liberia's premier vodka, a quality and customized liquor for all occasions? Try the flavor of your choice. Ham's Vodka, Ham's Honey, Ham's Bitter, and Ham's Original Vodka. Ham's Vodka has no hangover. That's what they say, Papa drink, Mama happy. Ham's Vodka is sold in all stores, shops, supermarkets, and entertainment centers in Liberia. For wholesale, contact Ham's Vodka at 0777 001114, 0777 000-979. We can also be reached via social media on Facebook and IG at Hans Vodka or www.hansvodka.com. In the United States, please contact Hans North America Incorporated at 610-543-9289, 484-888-1622, 484-755-8411. Hans Vodka is approved by the U.S. federal government. Hans Vodka brings out the real man in you.
I tell you in my boy, in my blood.
Pastor Ade, please mute the device also. I don't know what this, I mean, that the face is muted, but the sound keeps coming back. Well, folks, we heard something very disturbing yesterday on one of the local social media platforms where a group of people decided to just speak ill of our Liberian women, our Liberian sisters, and I don't think this should play any part into the body politics of our country. There's one thing to disagree with somebody, and there's another thing to speak ill of them. And it didn't go down too well yesterday uh, with me. I'm pretty sure with most of you guys that watched it. Let me begin with Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts. Mrs. Roberts, what do you know so far, and what do you make of the very disturbing outbursts coming from the closing argument yesterday?
I publicly and personally want to condemn that behavior. I don't think with all this politics that we're going through that we should get that personal. The president or public service, as a matter of fact, is open to criticism from anyone. You have packed groups sometimes that criticize leaders, but for someone to come on the Blue app to insult or denigrate a woman because they're trying to throw political punch at someone that they claim they had a beautiful relationship with before, that they know inside scoop, that he would come to do that. I think it's appalling. All women, all men with women that have sisters, mothers, friends, and just live on the planet Earth. Denounce, disgrace such behavior, because no one, as I spoke earlier today, I'm here on a platform with all of you guys. I could be subject to such ridicule, because when people have a little rapport with men, especially women, they're easily excused of having inappropriate relationships, and I condemn it. So that's how I feel.
Well,
I feel everyone should condemn it.
Idatus added, Kev Hassan should be ashamed of himself. What a disgrace. Even the guy sitting with him shouldn't have condoned that nonsense that happened yesterday. It's one thing to disagree with Stanton. I had a business relationship with Stanton that didn't go down too well, and was I happy? No. I should be angry at Stanton. But come on, the man is my friend and brother.
I have a question. Did you return the certificate?
What certificate you talking about? Business relationship as it relates to radio, not the fake nursing degree, the fake nursing certificate. So I went to Liberia to establish Spoon, and Spoon is my child. Our closing argument is my grandchild. Okay, I should be pissed, but I am not. Why are those guys angry? You're benefiting from Stanton. Come on, man, because Stanton disagree with the government, and you have been established by this government, and you're trying to get at him. Talk politics. Leave the personal stuff out. I mean, come on, man. This lady is married. She has a family. She had kids. How dare you talk to her like that? That's who's at it.
Ashford, it's rather unfortunate that people are replacing the venom of politics with relationships that they've built over the years. Unfortunately, on the basis of competition, political ideology, or party support. Yeah. What happened yesterday was very, very disgraceful. It's one thing to have a beef with somebody directly. It's another thing to destroy others in your beef. None of us should by any means on these different platforms, as young as we are in our generation, exposed to westernized politics, should go that low when Liberians are looking up to us on these platforms to represent dignity or civility on the issue and the substance of the issue, as opposed to personality attacks, baffles me. I think what was done yesterday, especially the fact that they all sat down there for him to speak extensively and then attempt to have him be calm and quiet, let it be so. It is disgraceful. I was very embarrassed. because I kind of personally know them, one or two of them, and I was just taken aback. I thought I was watching Jerry Springer. Thank you.
Coach Q, this is a platform that supports your guy that you support for the presidency. I mean, they don't have it. They say all the time, you know. It's one thing to disagree with your colleague or your competitor, but it's another thing to try to say things that will in a way bring disgrace to us as media practitioners.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a different view of this, and forgive me for sounding controversial. So, caveat: I know Dr. Francine personally, and I don't know Stanton, but here's what I do know. I do know that justice and selective criticism or advocacy is not how you live life. Spoon TV, the panelists on Spoon TV, sat there as people emasculated Mr. Cummings. They said this man had sex, forgive my language, with other men. They even went as far as asking Mr. Cummings to see if it was true. How do you feel about this? I think this is a teachable moment. I think Dr. Francine, as bad as this is for Dr. Francine, I think I'm glad it's Dr. Francine's happening to because of her reputation, and she can use, and all of us can use this as a teachable moment. You do not do that in politics. You're not supposed to say, oh, this person did this in politics. But we can't in one instant say that is wrong, that we did this to a woman or somebody else, but you sit there and you okay on some level. I'm talking about the UP people who are showing sick outrage at the emasculation of a man who has worked hard for his reputation. I think it shouldn't happen to nobody, and it's a teachable moment. And Liberia should learn from this. Just like no one spoke up when Katie Meyer had those kids raped and infused with AIDS from one of her workers. And no, it was not a national outrage. Let's not keep doing this selective outrage at things that happens and be reactive. Let's keep it board level. If it's wrong for him to say that about Dr. Francine, which it is, it should have been wrong. No media person should have endorsed that in any way, shape, or form, or legitimized that in any way, shape, or form when it happened to Mr. Cummings. So I think it's just a teachable moment. I think it was unfortunate, but I think we will all learn from it.
Hey, listen, man. Listen. I mean, Coach Q. With all due respect, man. You know, we shouldn't try to play politics with things all the time, man. We're talking about somebody's mother, somebody's wife, on here. You know, the stuff they used against Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings himself put it out there and said, "This is the lifestyle that I struggle with." Okay, when they ask you what you think about the gay business, you say, "This is the lifestyle I struggle with." Nobody's saying Mr. Cummings is gay or something. So they're using what he said out there. And for you to come on here, for a guy to talk down on a woman like that, and you come and say you want to take a different approach, I disagree with you, man.
Let me clarify that. Okay. When I said, first of all, Mr. Cummings did not say he struggled with that lifestyle. He said it's a lifestyle. That lifestyle he struggled with as to how to see it. It is an English thing. And we all know that. All the educated people know what he means when he says, I struggle with this. I struggle with pregnant mothers who use drugs. I struggle with that. Right? On one hand, do we help them? On the other hand, do we take the kids away from him? It is how he used the language. And for people to twist that and say he's struggling with that lifestyle, that's not even how people say when they're a homosexual. They don't say that.
Thank you. Let me bring in.
Let me clarify because it's important.
No, I mean you clarify. Wait.
I'm not saying no.
Listen, Coach Q.
Coach
Q, the time is up. Please, you clarify when your time comes. Please, thank you. Joel.
You know that there are certain topics that do get all of us a little bit yelling and passionate. I with Roberts, I do strongly condemn the gossip that was on that show yesterday or the day before yesterday, because that's all it is gossip. And when these platforms turn into gossips and innuendo, it will naturally lose a certain population, which is normal. I think, the Spoon TV and closing argument, eventually people will see it for what it is. If it's a gossip show, people will not, tune into them. But let me say this though. I mean, in speaking of women, and this is off the subject a little bit with Liberia. We all have a responsibility in that country. All of us, especially those who live in the West. When I go back to Liberia, okay, and I visit Liberia, I see those young girls get exploited. Little girls that should be, if they were in America here, they would be at 15, 16-year-old going to McDonald's or somewhere to find jobs. At that age, when it's time for them to take care of themselves, you have older men exploiting them. I mean, to me, that is the larger topic, because when people leave from Liberia, from America, and they go to Liberia, they're exploiting these little girls. These are little girls that should be marrying our sons, raising good families. But when you mess with them at that age, that tender age, what type of society do you expect to build? You are exploiting little children. So it's not just one person that's causing this problem. It's the foreigners. It's we, the Liberians, who leave America, go back home, go visit for 10 days, and then we come out and say, oh, man, we enjoy ourselves. What kind of enjoyment? What kind of enjoyment? So that, to me, is the bigger subject that we need to discuss, because we can't really have a functioning democracy in Liberia when you have these exploited children, and the ministers, the president, they're all part of it. So and George Weah should be ashamed of himself if he is involved in this type of behavior. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Garley, can I respond?
Yeah, go ahead, respond, please.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. While it's true, all of these are problems, and any problem. I mean, that's why we're on this platform. Our country has problems. Our country has so many things that need to be corrected, and that's why we have this conversation, because that's what the other platform was talking about. That even the president does it. The issue that Joel just spoke to. I'm appalled. I have a girlfriend in Liberia that almost wanted to walk up to an older man, I don't know what his title was, in a restaurant, to ask him why was he out with that young kid, because I won't say young girl. It is a problem. And that's why we need leadership and people in place that have moral and ethical views. However, that does not excuse any one of us that are on these platforms to denigrate another person in that manner, a woman especially. And I see the comment, ANC folks, and I'm sure they're referring to you, Coach Q. You may not have agreed with her being there. You don't know her motive. I don't know the inside scoop. I don't know the personal scoop. But that very idiot, and I will use that word, I'm sorry, I'm not apologizing to the person, but to anyone who offends on this platform, that idiot was the same person who was the bad boy for the Stanton that he tried to denigrate, but he didn't stand his ground, but he took the opposite route, because Stanton is the one he should have been talking to, not including Dr. Richardson. So I think it's a personal vendetta, because they left the show and she didn't leave with them, not knowing her reasons. But like I said, that doesn't give him any rights.
Thank you. Well, I will give you 30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah.
30 seconds, Coach Q.
Yeah.
And
so it's unfortunate. Again, the narrative is not. This is what happened to Mr. Cummings. Let me be clear. I did not support Kef in any way, shape, or form. I'm saying that type of speech we should all denounce, no matter who is going to. And I'm glad Dr. Francine, because of her prestige, she has elevated the conversation because it happened to her. So for people to be like, wow, ANC, I can't believe it, you're either not understanding what I'm saying or you're choosing to do that on purpose. I never endorsed what Kev said. What I said was we should across the board denounce that, and there's no room in politics for it.
Okay, thank you. You guys know you want to come in, but I want to take a few minutes to just 5 minutes to get phone calls, then we'll come back to you. Is that okay? Okay,
That's fine.
We'll have Elvis on the line from Minnesota. Elvis, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Hello to you and your panelists. I have to disagree with the panelists. I know it's the, quote unquote, the right thing to say when we're talking about, women. But women are not second-class citizens in politics. The same opposition research that political oppositions would do on their opponents, on the male counterpart, should be done for women. The thing here is, it's not. I'm going to reference her name, but it's not just her in terms of, the whole. Well, if you sit on a platform and you're professing to be the voice of reason and some sort of more, authority on the show, but then allegedly you have an affair going on with this guy, while you have your husband who, it's a messy situation. I think Mrs. Roberts will acknowledge that you don't do that. As a respectable woman, you don't do that. And then you come on your platform. This is the same lady that was talking about how the government killed Shada Massoud. The same woman I was talking about.
Elvis, listen 1 minute. This could be political. We don't know exactly what happened. Man. Kev Hassan hold on, Elvis. Kev Hassan had a relationship with Stanton Witherspoon, a business relationship. Things went bad. Kev Hassan now supports the government, and the government established or you call it closing argument for them to go in competition with Spoon TV. And Stanton is there attacking the government. Kev is there attacking Boycott, who he supports. That should never go down to the level where you bring in somebody's wife, somebody's mother to talk to her in that manner. Now, I'm sorry to disagree with you, but I don't think there's a place. I don't think it should be a place for this in our politics. Thank you. We have another call on the line. Hello, the area code is 317. Tell us your name.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Kirkland Bayou. I'm calling from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm listening to every one of you, and I'm kind of wondering, the outrage is real. I understand that. But what's the outrage when this same Senator Witherspoon sit on the network and castigate the office of the President of the Republic of Liberia? Do any one of you even have respect for the office that George we hold? Because if you do, you will definitely be in a position of condemning here tonight too, when he's saying that the President is sleeping with little girls. He's denigrating the country. So what's the outrage on that? I'm not going to support what Mr. Hassan said about that Rich is saying, but I want for you guys to be balanced. Don't just look at it from one direction. Look at everyone that is involved. Where is the moral? Where is the moral when it comes to the office of the President of the Republic of Liberia? You might dislike Joshua for whatever the office he holds. That is our country.
Listen,
you should respect that office.
And thank you. We do respect the office of the president, but the attitude of the president is uncalled for. This man is bankrupting our country. So if we talk to him in that manner, we are speaking to him and not the office of the president. We do respect the office of the president. Thanks for calling. Idatu Sade.
Thank you, Ashford. There's something called false equivalency, and that's what Coach Q tried to do here right now. The country is very unanimous. Decent people are unanimous, condemning Kev. But some ANC folks want to make politics out of everything. What Coach Q fails to realize that it was Kev Hassan who started on Spoon TV calling Mr. Cummings that derogatory name that I wouldn't use. Kev Hassan. And the day you are spreading it across as if to say, it is the whole Spoon network. But the truth of the matter is, Coach Q, not everything is politics. What Kev did was wrong. And you trying to provide an explanation of false equivalency around selective criticism, that was absolutely unnecessary. And that is why I keep saying sometimes maybe some cultural sensitivity training needs to be held among us Liberians in these diaspora, because what happened was despicable. Even members of the CDC are condemning it, to the likes of Mr. Fred Guyon. Okay, a stalwart sedition in Philadelphia put on his page.
Thank you.
Dr. Francine Chenoweth is a supporter of the of the CPP and Mr. Cummings. Don't start making explanation of a false equivalency. This is your own who has been wounded.
Thank
and
you.
you want to divert it from the reality. Thank you.
Thank you. I know Coach Q going to come in, but let's take this call out. It's a 612 number. Tell us your name, please.
Terry calling from Minnesota.
You got 1 minute. Go ahead with your point, question.
Yeah, I think you see what we're not understanding is that this is a political season in as much as I do not support the statement made by Kev to Dr. Richardson, but I think this politics is going to get dirty. Dr. Richardson is in politics. My whole disappointment is the ANC people, in especially Mr. Cummings, not coming out to condemn the act to protect Dr. Richardson as a political party. Most of the ANC, in fact, there was an ANC folk on the show that was listening to Kev and allowed that to go through, which makes me to be very, very disappointed again and to prove that Mr. Cummings is not really the right man for this job.
Thank you. Now, Q, is it true that you people are so angry with Stanton Witherspoon and you are mad that Dr. Richardson has not left the platform? Is that why you people are not condemning what went on against her yesterday?
Yeah, categorically, no. That's not what you just said is not true. Yeah, what you just said is not true at all. What I'm talking about is complete and total objectivity and what justice is. So this fake outrage that Dr. Pastor Addy is doing right now is just laughable to me. Dr. Francine is my teammate. I am protecting my teammate. I'm saying what happened to Dr. Richardson shouldn't happen to anyone, including the fact that the Unity Party that was accused for 12 years of raping young boys stood by and watched people emasculate Mr. Cummings. What is Dr. Francine being accused of? Having an affair. Mr. Cummings was accused of having a sexual relation with other men. That's emasculating. What was the outrage? Pastor Addy, show me your public post denouncing that. When our girls get raped in Liberia, what is the outrage for that? So what I'm saying is this is something that happens all the time and needs to be denounced, not just in this case. And again, I'll repeat close with what I said. I'm glad it happened to my teammate because of her status. She can now elevate the conversation. No one's here supporting Kev. So please do not put words in my mouth.
I think.
Can I say something?
This is that Mrs.
Coach,
Ashford, let me respond to him quickly. 30 seconds.
I think.
Who did you give?
Right. So my outrage, Coach Q, is that through my church I take raped girls off the street, but we call them disadvantaged girls. I house them. I got several homes in Monrovia where I send them to school through my church. I pay the school fees, give them health care, but above all, I give them Jesus. That's my outrage for Liberia. I also have a home for the orphanage, the Bishop Lena Thomas Home in White Plains, where I take children who have no parents. I send them to school, I educate them. It costs me an estimated $4,500 to $5,000 a month to take care of them. That's my outrage through my church. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mrs. Roberts.
And I look forward to your support.
Mrs. Roberts and Joelle. Mrs. Roberts, please.
To Coach Q, I don't want us to seem like this platform is against you and what I mean. Pastor Addy, why it is true you both support two different candidates, but if you're asked to speak on an issue, you can interject that, okay, maybe there should be outrage on other things, but you did not condemn the behavior. And that's unfortunate because Dr. Francine is a grown woman. She makes her own decision whether she sleeps with a man or not, whether she stays on a show or not. Like I could decide I don't want to be here anymore, or I could decide I want to be here. That's part of your time. But anyway, I think you're mixing it up because yes, those of us that watched on Spoon and that stupid behavior, we did condemn it. Not everybody goes around putting on posts. I don't. Certain things I made, or I just sit there and something's on my mind, I may just post. But not everybody, soon as something. People have lives. People have things. But they advocate in other ways. To not condemn this, I'm not happy with you. I'm not.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Joel.
Coach Q, I don't think you're doing your man Cummings any favor by keep reminding people that the man thinks he's gay, or you just got to extinguish that fire, man. Stop. Don't hold on. Every time you bring up that subject, you bring up that whole thing about people wondering if he's gay or not. I think ANC don't want this conversation to continue. So you shouldn't try to infuse that conversation with something else. I agree with what everybody is saying here. I think that show will turn into a gossip show because that's what it is. It sounds like the Real Housewife of New Jersey or Philadelphia show. I don't think that's something any sensible person should want to listen to and consider that to be politics. Kef Hassan was very emotional yesterday. It almost seems like he was defending like a loved one, like I would defend my girlfriend or my wife.
Yeah.
The way he was defending George Weah. I mean, I felt like he took it so personal, like his heart was broken. And I think normal people probably wonder like, what is going on between this man and George Weah for him to be so adamant that he just has to defend him.
Say it, Joel. Maybe George Weah is sleeping with him. Say it.
Listen, I am not into gossip and innuendos. I am not into that. You can insinuate, you can look at it and think through, right? Like you saw him, he was angry, almost to the point of crying if he wasn't on
Stupid,
TV.
Man, stupid.
So Ashford, I need to say this. I will leave myself to the mercy of the audience to go.
Please allow him to finish his thought. I beg you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So I think it's good for us because if you look at the generation that came before us, they went to war to fight these things out. So at least now we're battling it out intellectually. Hopefully we won't have to fight it in the streets. I'm hoping not. So I like the fact that we can get on these platforms and talk it out. I think a person like Kef Hassan, the opinion poll will show that maybe in a year or so, he may not even be on any of these platforms anymore because he'll be ashamed. And I know if Weah is gone, he would no longer have anybody to defend. So you can see the process of elimination happening. This will happen. This is the normal discourse that will play out. Those who are reckless, even the Spoon, that show if it's reckless, people will tune it out. So I think we do have to be above it. And when you see these types of injustice play out like this, these gossips, we shouldn't add more fuel to it. We should talk about it, but we shouldn't continue to allow it to fester.
In the coach, it will be that just before you coach. Please hold your thought. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week. We have enough spots here on the platform. I think it was somebody else said that in the absence of the real media practitioners, anybody can get up because Mark Zuckerberg made this available to us, so people can get up now and just get out and just say nonsense because they have the means to get on the social media to talk about this, and this is just not fair to our country. It's not fair to our little children that are growing up. We should be responsible. We come on this platform and not just put out nonsense. Idatus?
Well, Ashford, if you don't mind, I want to submit to Coach Q. Let him go ahead, and then I will come after him because he really wants to speak. Go ahead,
Okay,
Coach
Coach
Q.
Q, go ahead.
Well, I want to respond to the people, Ms. Brooks, who directly said my name. I'm going to leave myself to the mercy of the audience to go back. This is a great thing about tape, where you can replay what the person said. What I said was, there is no place for it in politics. If that's not denouncing it, I don't know what is. I'm not going to sit here and use the words that other people use. Just like I'm not going to use the accent of other people. I'm just talk like myself. I am not
You know what?
I am not supporting Kef in any way, shape, or form. I said there is no place for this in politics, in our body of politics. We should all denounce every such behavior, no matter who is directed towards. And emasculating a man is as bad or worse than saying a woman had an affair. It shouldn't. Women are not second-class citizens. You should all be treated equally. That's all I said.
Thank you.
Okay.
Idatus,
Thank you, Coach Q. So, in all fairness to Cummings, Ashford, because everybody knows I support Joseph Boyka. In all fairness to Cummings, at no point in time Cummings was saying he's gay or he supports gay people. All right. So people who want to score political points, they're absolutely wrong. If you listen to the context of Mr. Cummings' statement, he was very clear. He's answered that question over and over. He's not gay, and he doesn't support the gay lifestyle. That was the context he was trying to speak in. Similarly, in terms of decontextualizing people's comments, when Joseph Boyka stated he was a parked car, they forget the part where he said he's a race car. All right, that he was not used to the fullest of his ability as vice president, which makes it clear that is why Mr. Cummings doesn't want to be vice president. That being aside, we must now begin to engage the substance of our politics, do away with these difficult personality assassination for no reason, because it's not necessary. Liberians are looking up to us. They are watching our shows to help point them in the right direction for the greater good of the country. So all of these petty politics of destruction, such as what was done to Dr. Francine Chenoweth, was not right at all. Let the president go and listen to his own tip that was spoken by Molba Molu. Has there been anything different done? Why hasn't Kef condemned Molba Molu, who said what he said about his president in the open? Thank you.
Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing with the Kef Hassan thing. I think because I keep reading these comments, people saying this is political season, the things will happen like that. The problem with what happened was it wasn't even politics. This is some sort of beef between Stenton and Kef, and he's bringing in somebody into the picture who has nothing to do with all these things. So, and furthermore, it's gossip. Anybody can say anything. Anybody can say anything. He didn't show any proof. It's not like I'm asking for proof, but just to throw out these innuendos and and all these accusations without establishing any kind of proof is wrong in the first place. Because what if he is lying? What if he's lying? He will cause he could cause a relationship to be destroyed. He's just throwing these things out there, and he was so emotional. It's hard to even believe anything he said. Okay, so he should be strongly condemned. He should be strongly when you're discussing ideas and politics, we should stick to that. Not who somebody is sleeping with, not somebody who's having sex with. That's nobody's business. That has nothing to do with the ideas that we want to exchange in Liberia. That has nothing to do with that. Thank you.
And may I add
hold on a minute, Mrs. Roberts. I don't understand these people sometimes. You're putting your life on the line for a president who doesn't give a damn of our country, who came to power just stealing from the country, breaking down your old homes and building new ones at the expense of Liberia and the poor Liberian people. You play soccer, made a lot of money. You squander your own money because of mental instability. You regain your wealth at the expense of Liberia and the poor Liberian people. And this is what we get in return. Is this man that people are trying to destroy themselves, destroy other people for? I think this is not fair to Liberia. It is not fair to the people of Liberia. Come in, Mrs. Roberts.
Yes, thank you for that. And also, Mr. Garley, this man went on a rendezvous, I won't say trip, paid for by Stanton. According to them, the whole trip was financed by him. They came back as a media group, and what did they give us? They had nothing to tell us what the meeting was about. And then later on, they started talking 4 hours in the hotel with George. What the hell y'all doing with in 4 hours with him as a media group and have nothing to show or say an interview that on the issues that matter to the people. So y'all went there to further your own personal aspirations. And when things went bad, this is why now they're all flipping around and they want to bring Stanton down, which she's already going. And I'm not here to speak for him, but take that beef in his yard or wherever else you can do it, but do not include us. And when he goes around talking about my president, no, he's Liberian president, and all Liberians are entitled to say whatever they want. I mean, of course, with facts. We don't want him, to be making up things on him either, because you're against him now. But that's not your reason to come here and feud, talking about he talked to my president.
Okay, now hold on a minute.
Seconds, please.
Hold on. I know you coming next. I just want to say something. Okay, folks, if you just joining us, this is ASHFORD GARLEY live on British Radio Africa. It feels great to be back on here as always. And today is in fact the last edition of the program. Monday, we're going to play host to Representative Johnson Gueklo of Nimba County. He was the guy who announced the 56 lawmakers who endorsed President Weah for re-election. So he will be our special guest on Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, and of course 12 midnight in Liberia. It's not time for closing statement. I will begin with Coach Q, see what you have to say, and then you can give your closing statement.
Yeah, so I didn't want us to leave this topic quickly. Henry Costa.
Henry Costa is not a topic we're talking about.
No. I'm trying to.
Are you trying to say something before your closing? We don't. Yeah. Please be mindful of time.
Yeah. It'll be quick. It'll be quick. Henry Costa, a guy came on radio when Mo Ali had that issue with that girl, called that woman a Hopo Joe, whatever name he called, Prophet Key, have thousands of people watching. This is the behavior we need to take out of our politics and our society. There is no place for it. Let me close with this. We talk about endorsement, right? Especially endorsement. This is my closing. Endorsement King Kong, which is Joseph Boycott, right? Always get endorsements from everyone, all right? But you cannot go back into his history since 1973 and hear him talk about how to build an economy. Show me one newspaper article, one interview where he's advocated for that. You can't go any place to hear him talk about how to improve our educational system. Show me one newspaper article, anytime. Never stood on the line for anything that's helped Liberian people. Okay? When we talk about people who should be leading our countries, it does start with advocacy. You know the Christmas by the Eve. What does that man really care about? When you look at the people who are running, I will close with saying, you can see Mr. Cummings, a person who knows how to run a bureaucracy. That is a structured organization that deals in politics, that deals with people, and how to hold people accountable and how it's supposed to function. This is the person that should be leading us. Don't let all the fluff, all the distraction get in the way, because time spent on a job does not mean that you're good at that job. Let's look at who has ever accomplished anything in their field and then make a decision from there. Let's not look at someone who's been there because you've been there means you have done a good job. I'd like to say thank you for tonight and thanks for allowing me to be part of this conversation.
Okay. Joel, Dennis, closing statement?
Yes. Well, this tonight was an interesting show. So I'm gonna go back to one thing about what we talked about with Kev the other night, and then kind of bring it into what we do here. You know, when Kev kept threatening to leave the show the other night, those guys just sat there and like without any balls, man. I just want to tell you that if anybody behaves like that on this show, I hope you have to, and I know you will have the strength to say leave.
Tell me about it,
Leave
bro.
the show
You know
right now.
Of course, you know that. Come on.
He threatened so many times. If I would not come, so what? Who are you?
What the hell is he?
Who are you? And for them to just sit there and say, "Oh, I don't know what's in the man brain. I don't know what he's going to be talking about." So get him off the show. There is no. We shouldn't be inciting these types of behavior in publicly, because it can lead to a lot of. I mean, it can lead to something even worse down the road. So, like I said, I have a lot of respect for this platform, and I know we wouldn't have to go through this if we ever have to go through this. Tell the person, get off the show right now.
You see, Joel, I don't blame Kev. I don't blame all those clowns. There's something that I built. So and I will be responsible to apologize to Liberian people. I didn't know Stanton was going to turn out like this or
yes.
all the there. I mean, they come to beg you to do something. When you finally put it in there, then they take it and just run with it the wrong way, you know. And
the thing what people don't understand is they're not just on YouTube; they're actually on the radio in Liberia. So this is
exactly
gossip that is being spread. This is tabloid journalism at its best that's being spread all over Liberia, ruining somebody's name and a reputation. Because if it's a lie, it's a lie. Even if it's not a lie, that's nobody's business. You can't consider yourself some sort of talk show or journalist and then be spreading tabloid journalism. So that was wrong. They should have kicked him off the show. He is nobody. He is just one piece in the cog that's turning the wheel. He is nobody.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for that, Coach Q. Closing. He did that already, right? We're out of time. That is your closing statement that we'll get here tonight.
My closing statement actually will sound something like this. Mechanized rice production during the year increased from 2,500 acres in the Foya area in 1973 to 6,500 areas in Foya, Cape Mount, and Slevtown in 1974. There was also a very large increase in the number of rice, in the number and size of traditional rice farms. Sales of local rice in 1974 was reported to have caused a reduction in imports by 38% over the preceding year, thereby preventing foreign exchange loss of $8.15 million. Because of this increased level of production, it is predicted that there will be a further substantial reduction in the 1975 imports. There is another significant development in rice production. I am happy to announce that the government is negotiating the farming of large-scale investment in rice production on over 50,000 acres. When this is realized, it will transform Liberia from the rising imports to a rice exporting country. Already, government has given approval for 13,000 acres of the project to be cleared during the current day season. So Coach Q, do you know who was in charge of that time limit? It was Joseph Boyka. Did you hear the name Foya? It was Joseph Boyka. Please protect me. Please protect me, guys. ASHFORD, I'm closing. ASHFORD, I'm closing.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. ASHFORD, the music is too loud. I can't hear myself. Just give me 30 seconds. So when Coach Q asked, where can I find that record? I just want to point Coach Q back. Right. I just want to point Coach Q back to the report, that the GAO report I'm reading for him, page 45 and 46. That's the record. Who was in charge of rice production and the expansion of farms in Lofa County when Liberia was the bread basket? We had a Lofa project, the Banga project, the Cowrie rice development.
Something that
all of that. No, Coach Q said you can't find the information. So I'm just directing him to where to find the information. Thank you. Our great listeners.
Hold on, let me say this. On a very serious note. You see, some people, they got a special kind of money. The closing argument is being supported by the government. So when you come here now as a Joseph Boyka supporter or a coming supporter, listen, you got to help with the maintenance of the platform. Talk to them. You decide to work for them free. But this platform, Instead of all going to work, we here on the platform. Oh man, you gotta do something for the platform, my
You
man.
gotta bring them out.
Platform. You can't come here.
I agree, but Ashford put the Cash App number up. And those who are in
how many
support of
times have we
Honorable
not put a
Joseph
Cash
Boyka,
App number up and you're just passed by A? So I want to begin with you tonight, Idatus. You know, touch the Cash App. We got almost 7,000 people watching now. Touch the Cash App first, and then tell the people to do the cash. So Idatus lead the campaign on the Cash App. Tell the Joseph.
okay, so
then we'll go to
right. So my fellow supporters and sympathizers of the vision arrest in honor of Joseph Boyka, please commence supporting the platform. Ashford, you can expect an amount from me. I'm a very private giver, and you will hear that shortly.
Thank you. Coach Q, send message to your ANC people now and the CPP people.
So our ANC people, we are always supporting things that we care about. I'm asking that you support this platform so we continue to advocate for Mr. Cummings and a brighter future for Liberia. This is exactly how we keep our headquarters. So let's show the people how we do it.
Okay, well, I think it's fair to Joy. You got a huge following to tell people now about the Cash App too.
To all my Congo people here, please send the Cash App.
Mrs. Letty Bruce Roberts, the people love your voice.
Well, as we always say, we come here to bring you the news, the hot topics. We ask that you please support Bridge Radio Africa, not just by following us, but also by donating whatever you can to keep the platform up. We're not part of any political party. We just bring the issues to you. Thank you, Mr. Garley. Thank you to all of our listeners. Thank you to this platform. Thank you to my fellow panelists. Again, let's be respectful of each other. It's not just what you say, it's what you do. Actions speak louder than words. Thank you.
Basillon Blue. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid it's only time I have to be with you, God willing. We will be back with a very fresh edition of the program on Monday, the 20th of June. That's supposed to be some type of holiday. But until then, folks, please allow me to borrow the wordings of the wise man. As always, tough times don't last, tough people do. The heart of a man is never known until he rises, because there's no second chance to make that first impression. Don't see okra and swallow bone, because you can't hide your nakedness with bathing bucket. When God bless you, don't see that medicine. Just to pagege, Jebon Blue, Rananja, Quamel, Tragic, Borobay, Panico, Borusei, Basillon Blue, Secoria Pelia. He doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. Africa's media doobie-doo extraordinaire. As for the giant, and now you know me, Garley. Have a great night.